Fontaine knew our blokes were coming. We were done over. Them splicers come screaming out the woodwork, burping fire, spitting ice. Demons out of the Bible they were. I've never seen nothing like it. It wasn't a business he was building. It was an army.
Splicers are the main enemy type that Jack will encounter during the events of the game BioShock. Once the hard-working, hearty people of Rapture, Splicers would lose themselves to the addiction of a substance known as Adam, a miracle drug that would offer incredible benefits. Beauty, brilliance, superpowers. Adam could do it all, but for the privilege, you would pay a price. A price that would ravage the underwater citizens as Adam permeated their culture, deforming their bodies and breaking their minds.
I'm too spliced up. I'm too spliced up. Nobody's gonna want me.
The story of the Splicers as we know it begins with a woman named Bridget Tenenbaum and her discovery of a genetic substance known as Adam. One day, by happenstance, she would find a crippled dock worker in Neptune's Bounty had been bitten by an underwater slug while unloading boxes, resulting in his hands being miraculously healed. This outlandish prospect would fascinate Tenenbaum, and she would begin exploration into how such a thing could be possible, finding that the slug secreted an incredible chemical, which she would dub Adam. She would take her findings to several reputable researchers around the city, but find that none were willing to work with her, a dismissal that would force her into the hands of a less reputable partner, Frank Fontaine. With Fontaine's backing, Tenenbaum would begin proper testing with the chemical, expanding its production with the creation of the Little Sisters program, while Fontaine would hire on a researcher named Yi Suchong to aid in the experimentation. Through this exploration, they would find that Adam acted as a sort of benign cancer inside the body of its hosts. It would destroy the body's native tissue cells and replace them with new, unstable stem versions of themselves. Versions that could develop into any number of new variations, even unnatural ones with the correct product. However, there was a downside. The destruction of the host cells would eventually result in tumor-like growths and mental damage if a person wasn't habitually using the substance to hold back the tide. For Tenenbaum, the possibilities of Adam were enthralling, but while she was content to simply study the substance, Suchong was ready to harness its power. He would use Adam to create a new product that he would dub plasmids, injectable serums that would prompt the destroyed cells of the host to develop in specific ways. Telekinesis, flame control, mind alteration. Suchong's plasmids would bring incredible abilities to the awestruck masses of Rapture, and as their influence on the city grew, so too did Fontaine's grip. Of course, as the negative side effects began to come to light, a critical eye would be placed on Fontaine Futuristics, but in the end, Rapture was a bastion for freedom of the market, so calls for regulation would find no ear.
There has been tremendous pressure to regulate this plasmid business. There have been side effects, blindness, insanity, death. But what use is our ideology if it is not tested? The market does not respond like an infant, shrieking at the first sign of displeasure. The market is patient, and we must be too.
With Ryan's rigid foundational principles and the allure of the marvels that Adam could offer, plasmids would find an overwhelming consumer base beneath the ocean waves. Almost everyone would use these products in one way or another, and as their usage would consume the city, so too would their drawbacks. Addictions would run rampant in Rapture as the citizens began to lose themselves to their Adam cravings. At first, these desires could be satiated, the horrifying drawbacks kept at bay. But that would all change once a rebel named Atlas would lay civil war at Ryan's feet. With the conflict, shortages would begin to ravage the supply chain, a need that would birth the onset of the Little Sisters harvesting Adam from the corpses of the fallen combatants. But even then, the needs of Rapture would outpace the ability for Ryan and his men to meet the demand. These shortages would drastically impact the population. With a commodity now being so hard to come by, the Adam within their bodies would grow out of control. Tumors would begin to plague them. deforming the once beautiful into unrecognizable monsters. Hallucinations would warp their world, recycled Adam carrying on the memories of the bodies it used to inhabit, and through it all, their minds would suffer. Paranoia and memory loss causing them to go insane as they attempted to find any morsel of Adam that could give them just another shred of the humanity they'd left behind. These lost souls would become known as Splicers, former citizens of this once great city who have entirely lost themselves to the thirst of their genetic addictions. Splicers are some of the most deranged people that still wander the sunken, decaying corridors of Rapture. People who bought into Ryan's rigid ideals of the great chain of industry, only to be sold an addiction that would utterly ruin their lives. It was a miracle that destroyed these people, the momentary ability to shake off the bindings of reality and become the gods of their own fate. But, in the end, this power would cost a price that would ultimately be paid as soon as this incredible venom dried from your veins.
Just don't hurt me. Just let me go. You my gun.
Is it someone new?